Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Geeks and One Noob, where we gather friends of similar interests, and maybe not so similar, and discuss, joke, learn more about, and generally have fun with geek culture. We're back at it again with a couple of awesome guests on our show today. We have Blake and Matt back.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hey, guys. And our topic for today is Critical Role, the D&D podcast with Matt Mercer as the DM. But we're also going to talk about Legends of Vox Machina, the animated series. But yeah, we're bringing it way back to the original campaign 1 with Vox Machina.
And you're going to talk about the other two that only you've listened
yes,
to.
I will talk a little bit about those two, but probably focus more so on Vox Machina because that's more what you guys know about. More what you guys know about.
Guys, for once, I get to be the noob.
Hey!
You've seen like 6?
Yeah, I've only seen... I'm on episode 11 of the podcast, and I am on episode 6 of season 2 of Legend of Vox Machina.
Okay. Which, I have watched all of Legends of Vox Machina.
I've watched all of Legends of Vox Machina.
I've watched all of season 2, and I'm caught up on season 3 of the podcast. You said you've watched all of Vox Machina, and Matt,
and then I've watched all of Vox Machina. I've watched the first season twice, and then I'm on episode. Let me look.
You said you were on like 83.
Yeah, I was on
like
83.
That.
So it's like when everything with the Chroma Conclave kind of ends.
Comes to the end. Okay.
Yeah.
I've watched all of campaign 1 of The Unexpectables. It's a pretty good show, you guys.
And I'm sure we'll get into that some today, too.
Probably not. They don't have a whole lot to do with each other.
It's all good. It's D&D related, though.
It's all D&D, but it's completely different campaign.
All right, so first of all, we'll cover some of the stuff that you know, Blake, with the first season and with what you know of the Legends of Vox Machina.
And I'm also not worried about spoilers because I've heard a lot of things, so just go for it.
Yeah, and this stuff has been out for 6 or 7 years now, or almost 8 years now. So
yeah, and whoever is worried about and whoever is worried about spoilers probably listen to a different episode.
Yeah, exactly.
But also don't, because we're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're pretty awesome.
Except for that Matt guy.
Still the prettiest one.
Yeah.
Wow, Dan, thank you.
I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know. But anyway, so what did you guys think of what you've listened to so far of campaign 1 and Legends of Vox Machina?
I'm going to let Matt start.
Get yours over with because it'll be the shortest amount.
Okay, mine's really short. I enjoy it. The podcast is pretty fun. The only problem I have with it is like because it's so early on and they hadn't really hit their rhythm yet. They all talk over each other, and it makes it really difficult to like sometimes Mercer will be talking about something, and then everybody's having a conversation in the background, and like they're doing stuff in game, but my brain is trying to listen to what both are doing at the same time because I'm used to sitting in the DM's chair. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, wait, what are they saying? What are they saying? Shh. Mercer, shut up. Oh, wait, no, he's the one that's important to listen to. He's the one progressing the story along. Like, I need to listen to him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so it's like an actual, D&D game, just...
I don't know what you're talking about. We never talk over each other at the D&D table.
Ever.
But I am super impressed with the voice acting. Now, granted, they're all professionals and stuff, but that was one of the things I found really fun. Was like just like they've all honed their craft.
Oh yeah,
and so it really shows when you listen to the series. Because like I don't know, at my tables, like I do all kinds of weird, crazy voices, but then like I hear Mercer doing like his stuff, and I go, wow, I need to step it up a little bit. Like. Jeez, my guy, like...
Yeah. Same here.
which was kind of the same. We're already getting into it. It was kind of the same in The Unexpectables because like there was this one episode where they go to an opera, and like I didn't know this, but like the DM for that one had like taken opera classes and stuff, and like all kinds of music stuff, and had written out like different pieces of the play. So she was like singing.
Oh wow!
Like the opera that they were watching, and I was like, "Well, now you're just showing off." Like, I feel like a jackwagon over here. Like,
you don't do that for us.
Yeah, because I don't have the most pleasant voice in the world,
and you haven't taken opera.
That too. Would you like me to start singing opera at the table? Because I don't think
break some glasses.
I don't think there are any opera theaters in Icewind Dale.
I feel like that would progress the story a little.
Probably not. But as far as the show goes, I mean, obviously I love the show. I didn't get to finish it before this recording because I work construction, and as the job site has gone up, when I go on my lunch breaks, I have no cell reception, and so I sit there and I try to listen or I try to watch the show, and it just Amazon does not like my job site.
Yeah. So in the podcast, you said you're on episode 11, or I think you said 13, or like you're just getting
something
to 13.
like that. They're currently like they've charmed the Fomorian, and they have Clarota, and they're planning to like go make their attack against Kavarn.
Right. Okay.
But they haven't like gone there yet. They're like,
have they found Kima yet?
Yeah, they find Kima in the Dwergar city.
I know.
That's on like episode 3.
The whole like beginning of it, I just because of
it's
Tiberius, I was just kind of like.
We won't talk about Tiberius too much, other than to just say, he's not a great character. Like he's a good character, but the guy playing him just.
Yeah, I remember getting.
I'm gonna talk about him.
I remember getting really irritated very, very early on because like he was doing all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, he just spent 5 sorcery points there. He just spent another 2 there. He just spent another 1 there. He spent another 4 there. He spent another 5 there, and I'm like,
how many?
I was like, how many sorcery points does this guy have? Because I know for a fact that Tasha's wasn't out yet, and they didn't have that feat that grants you extra sorcery points. Yeah. And then at one point, Matt even called it out. He was like, how many have you spent? And he's like, oh, I have 6 more left after this one. And I was like, oh, freaking crap. Like,
yeah.
he
had that feature where he can spend sorcery points to get more sorcery points.
No, see, you can expend spell slots to get sorcery points, but you don't get to... He had that feature where he just lied to the DM.
Right.
To get as many spell slots and sorcery points or whatever resource he had that he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty annoying. But yeah, so you're right about okay, so you're at the point of going to Kavarn, which is so Clarota is a mind flare. I forget Clarota or not Clarota. Kavarn was like
he's a beholder.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Which I'm kind of like, oh, we're just kicking off the campaign with a beholder fight.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they started in the middle of their.
Yeah, no, but still, I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was one of the like designers with Wizards of the Coast that was like, any party, no matter what level they are, should not be able to beat a beholder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they're megalomaniacs and geniuses. Like they think everything revolves around themselves, and so like. They have made contingencies for anything you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And it's literally just the DM's excuse to ad-lib and pull stuff out of his butt and just be like, oh yeah, he's planned for this. Like,
yeah.
Really? We polymorphed a kitten into a triceratops and bashed through the wall of his lair and like started throwing grenades everywhere. And it's like, yeah, he has a plan for that.
Yeah. He's basically Doctor Strange viewing the 14 million futures that could possibly be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they also have cast Gios on a Fomorian to go have it fight this beholder for them, and I'm like, all it has to do is look at this Fomorian, and it's no longer under Geos
What
because
is
all
a
magic
Fomorian?
stops.
Yeah, I was gonna say, remind me what a Fomorian is.
So a Fomorian is a big, huge, cursed giant type.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
If
I don't remember that for
you've
some
gone
reason.
through my monster manual, they're like real big. They look like they're like covered in like tumors and stuff, and like one
Okay.
really large eye, and like the other one's
Oh
real small.
yeah. Okay.
They're big uglies.
They're kind of ugly.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a tad.
Yeah.
Just reminds me of like the giant from like Hercules.
Yeah, it's the Cyclops from
Yeah, the
Hercules,
Cyclops
but with more eyeballs.
and
more,
probably a little smaller.
more eyeballs, less fat.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
He's big boned, not fat.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
he
we
was
don't
fat.
fat shame on this show.
He was fat.
I am fat. Get over it.
Have we shamed you for it?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Matt does.
It's true. No shame.
He's called me before just to say, "Hey, Blake, you're fat," and then hung up on me. I was like, "Thanks."
Can confirm that has happened.
All right, Matt. What do you think so far?
Okay, so
He's ready. He's like, all right, let's go.
Matt, what do you think so far? Nobody cares.
the show is amazing. The way that they've translated it from the podcast is fantastic.
Yeah.
And even though, like, you know, there's so much material in the podcast to go back through, like, they do it perfectly in the show. And so, like, you may be watching it and you'll be like, oh, this wasn't in it, but, like, you don't miss it.
Yeah.
Like, Tiberius wasn't in it, and we didn't miss him.
No, not at all.
No.
I think I would have liked to have seen him as like a passerby in the show or something
Yeah.
like that, but other than that, no, I don't miss the character.
The character development is like the coolest thing out of
Yeah.
all of it. Just the way that you can watch how they're growing together as a group and they're growing together as a party. And then Matt Mercer is just there, like, doing kind of minimal effort.
Yeah.
And these guys, they have such a great friendship and they have such, like, professional
Improvisation.
improvisation and respect for each other that they just, like, build off of everything, and they can create, like, this wonderful backstory where you're like, I don't even think in a million years I could do that in my campaign. Like,
I'm trying so hard.
I don't know, man. There was a campaign that I was running for like a long time. It was a homebrew, and I had all of these like intricate interwoven things that I was gonna do, and then people got jobs out of state and had to move, and then got jobs that conflicted with the time schedule, or got married and had to move, and like all this different stuff. And I'm just like, they just aren't all scattered throughout the country now, and I'm like, well, all that work is just kind of gone now. Like, I still have it, and like I've in one shots for you guys, I've run little bits for like story arcs that were going to happen, but A, they're nowhere near as impactful, and B, like all of the stuff that tied into their backstories is just gone.
Yeah.
And that's why that one where you guys were defending that city, and like there was that little goblin that showed up and was like helping you guys out, and he was talking about these other people, and like Heather started like tearing up. It was like those were crucial things to that campaign, and she was like, I'm gonna cry. And I'm like, yeah, but like, you know, your character's not from that campaign anymore,
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah. And it's so
Oh,
cool.
well.
Yeah, it's so cool how like D&D in and of itself is so, it's family building and character building at the same time. Because like to go off of your point, Matt, like watching that the character development, like just what popped in my head when you said that was Scanlan, like his character development through the whole thing, like being what a bard is, and then
what's a bard?
a sexual
What are those
deviant. Am I allowed to say that?
Sure. He's a yeah philandering idiot, and
It's about right.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
it now.
yeah.
I understand.
I don't get it.
but then
I
like
don't philander us with those fish what had both their eyes on the same side and lay at the bottom of the ocean.
I always thought
I
it was,
wasn't trying to do
I
grog
thought
there. I was just doing my
philanderers-
dumb guy voice.
Wait, aren't philanders those, like, people that donate a lot of money to stuff?
see, I thought it was the
No, that's
kid from-
falafels.
I thought it was the fish from Little Mermaid.
Hey, can you stop? The new one gives me nightmares.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't seen it, and I don't want to.
No, just the design of Flounder is scary.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I don't
Back
want
to
to.
D&D.
Yeah, D&D. So it's really awesome, and like you can see the development outside of the game too, because like Mercer and Marisha got married.
Yeah, in the middle of it.
Yeah,
I don't know which one Marisha is.
Marisha's the
Keyleth.
redhead. She
Okay.
plays Keyleth.
Okay.
yeah. And
Oh yeah, because you just listen. You
and
don't watch.
Taliesin.
Yeah, you're like the redhead, and I'm like, in the show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or-
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Keyleth of the Arashari.
And Taliesin married them, which is fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which
That's
one
cool.
is that?
Percy.
Percy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you write down the full name so you could say it?
Oh no, I should have though. Wait. Oh shoot.
It's like Percival,
Percival
Museldorf,
Kowalski DeRollo
Love.
the third.
You can call him
I think
Percy.
there's another
There's
middle
more
name
in there.
You can call him Percy.
Yeah, you can
No,
go.
we just call him person. The show is amazing, and I
Oh yeah,
love
I was gonna
seeing-
say on that point too. That you were saying that how they cut stuff out and kind of move stuff around.
yeah,
Like
they kind of have to.
yeah, they absolutely had to. With like going to the Feywild. The Feywild was in the middle of the animated show, and I'm just now getting to it at episode 60. So it's just like, wow, they really moved things around.
So
Well, you
what
kind of have to, because think about all the shenanigans and chaos that like happen, like sitting down at a D&D table.
Oh
Like,
yeah, so many things.
There's so much stuff that if you were going to pitch this story of what happened in your D&D campaign to somebody, you have to cut a lot of just stupid crap out of it.
Yeah.
Because like there's going to be a whole episode where you're just shopping and it's just like nobody wants to watch that on TV.
No,
like
not at all.
it's like, oh, I need more
I love shopping episodes.
I need more ball bearings, and
Yeah.
I need another 50 feet
because
of
you get
hempen
characters
rope
like
and-
Victor when you
Oh,
have
my
shopping
gosh.
episodes.
You haven't
Blake
gotten to
hasn't met
Victor yet.
Victor yet.
Victor is my favorite NPC on the episode or on the podcast.
So you say they jump a lot, but in reality they like fast forward through a few months of the game of like the podcast, and as soon as the Chroma Conclave hits, like it follows pretty closely to what happens. Like, and it looks like what they're gonna do is that each season is gonna be another dragon, another member, except probably for the last one, because Thordak and Raishan happen within close proximity of each
Thordak
other.
is the big
Yeah,
red-
Thunder King.
Okay, so are we gonna discuss? So I guess he's still alive at the end of season 2. So what do you guys think they're gonna do with the voice actor?
I'm assuming
Because Solomon Riddick
That's
very
right.
recently passed away.
Yeah.
Matt
and-
Mercer will probably take it over, I would guess.
Do you think so?
Or they've already recorded it, maybe.
I mean,
can't-
that would be the hope, but
I don't think they would have already recorded up to that point because of if they're doing one dragon per season.
Thordak is barely
Thordak.
in it. In the
Okay.
podcast, like Thordak's stuff isn't until the end, and even when it is, like he doesn't talk that much, and so they could probably.
okay. But do you think that he would actually not be like it's a cinematic show versus a combat in D&D where there's not like there's too many rules that you're going over that there's not that much chatter that's going on.
They could do like sample recordings, like they do that nowadays with like movies where they just take, like they did with Top Gun Maverick, where like they took Val Kilmer's voice and mixed it with his son's voice, and were able to then like make the lines that he said.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible for them to do that, but at the same time, I think, like, to respect the character, I think they should either recast or just play it like the podcast where they don't have him talk too much.
That dude had such a cool voice.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, just to play that character and like take it over from Matt Mercer from the podcast. Like, obviously, Matt Mercer is a phenomenal voice actor, and doing all those different voices, but then also like the main bad guy of Thordak is just like, whew, and then taking that over and taking on that iconic character. I think
David Tennant.
David Tennant. Well,
just kidding.
he
was
plays
already the first dragon.
Brimscythe,
Maybe.
or no, I think he played Umbrasyl.
Umbrasyl, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He does play a very good bad guy. You just throw real quick nod to Final Space. Like, he made the Lord Commander terrifying. Like,
What? He was like the only redeemable thing about Jessica Jones was
agreed.
didn't watch it.
His voice is just
I
chef's
watched all of
kiss.
it, but it was not that great. But
I mean, David Tennant, just chef's kiss in
Purple
general.
Man.
Yeah.
He played Purple Man.
They're doing another season of Good Omens.
Okay, now let's talk
Anyways.
about.
Sorry, we went on a David Tennant.
But that is an
rabbit hole.
Amazon original, so you know.
And,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
it's also David Tennant.
Yeah.
Which that's what we're talking about today, right?
David Tennant in D&D. Yeah. But yeah, no, back to Critical Role. Where I was gonna say, before we move on from this, like, kind of to explain a little bit of what's going on, is the Chroma Conclave is a group of
Chromatic
four-
dragons.
there's
There's
a-
five chromatic
There's
dragons.
a second D in D&D.
Yes, exactly. Which is cool because it was the first campaign, so they definitely should have gone with dragons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so normally chromatic dragons do not
Gel.
like go together.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they
they
do
don't
not
work together.
Work together at all. And these five did for some strange reason. I haven't gotten to that point yet, so.
Well, I've gotten there. If it
I'm
helps.
sure, man. Yeah.
The question I have, so I know that in the default setting for Dungeons and Dragons, like, there's a lore reason why the dragons don't work together, because they used to. And then they were basically cursed with this thing called the Dragon Rage Mythalar, where now randomly they will just go through this phase in their life where they just kind of they frenzy and they'll just kill anything in sight, including other dragons. And that's why the dominion of dragons over the world broke up, because, okay, well, now we can't be near each other. We can't, other than, you know, small little bits and pieces for like mating and stuff like that. But then we have to separate because, like, they will turn on their own children. They'll turn on their own mate during their dragon rage, and so they had to scatter and separate, and that allowed the other races like the giants and the dwarves and the early races to take over and resettle the world. So I don't know if Mercer uses that same kind of lore.
No, it's more like the Montagues and the Capulets, and there's a whole lot. I'm just kidding. It's not like that at all.
So they just kind of like have this hierarchy of like the different colors of dragons believe themselves to be superior, or what? Like,
I mean, kind of, yeah. And like
that's essentially it.
So like Thordak is, I mean, he's the Cinder King, so he's like the highest of them all.
Ancient
and
red dragon.
Ancient Red Dragon, all of that. And then everybody else kind of falls in line after him. And he has this end goal that he's trying to get. And so he's convinced them into joining him to help him get that and take over.
And he's strong enough to actually maintain his rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did the what is it called, the
crystal
in his chest
Yeah.
have anything to do with like the power that he had over it?
No,
or-
it had to
There's
do
a
with
crystal
like
in his chest.
it had to do with like what was keeping him alive and like stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why he got so big, is because he's magically
Yeah.
okay. Cool. So not only is he ancient, but he's
I mean, dragon.
over ancient.
Well, there's a stat block for that now in that came out with Fizbins, and that's the Great Worm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they ended up saying that in one of the last ones.
No, not you, Worm.
One of the last episodes that I watched, they called him a great drake or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So that's probably because I know that campaign was before
Yeah.
Fizbins came out, but I mean, Great Worms and stuff like that existed in older editions. So
Yeah.
he might have even updated one of those stat blocks. I mean, he's skilled enough to do it. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. He came up with the Blood Hunter. He came up with the
Gunslinger.
the Gunslinger.
I've played both of those.
Yeah.
And I think he came up with the Echo Knight.
Yeah, he did the Echo Knight too,
Yep. So,
which is obviously the best fighter. Like, I know that's gonna any D&D nerds out there are gonna be like, no, the Battle Master. Shut up. I'm sorry. The Echo Knight's better.
Yeah. I mean, the Echo Knight is. Don't they get that shadow puppet thing? Like,
Yeah, they essentially get to create a duplicate of themselves. That
that's right.
But it's an object and not a person, so it gets around a ton of stuff.
Right. Yeah, because aren't you playing an Echo Knight?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're
but
going
he's not third level yet.
Right.
But yes, it's considered an object in like the rules as written, and so like hold person and like
like
stuff a ton of stuff.
But it's considered a creature in the sense that it is an allied creature that you can flank with. So like you can create your Echo just on the other side of your opponent and give yourself advantage because, hey, I'm flanking.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
But also great. Like,
No, it's awesome.
It's like playing
it's my favorite fighter.
Yeah, it's like playing a barbarian rogue that can give themselves advantage by by doing reckless.
Yeah, the only problem with that is you can only sneak attack if you're using a finesse weapon.
Well, yeah.
So you'd have to be like a barbarian wielding like scimitars or a rapier, which
would be inefficient.
Then I don't believe you would get the +2 rage bonus.
No.
Because you have to be holding
a strength-based
weapon to get the damage bonus on your rage. So it
evens out a bit, though.
There's a build you can make there, but you kind of have to work with it to get there. Like it's kind of like a question of whether or not it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So speaking of rage, what is y'all's favorite characters?
Is that a real question? Or
yeah,
it's like I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be like, well, it's Grog.
So
nah.
I love Grog, but I don't know if he would necessarily be my favorite character.
So things that I've seen, like not even just the character, but the player himself, just makes me happy because like there's been times where like I've watched clips like people have put together like compilations of him doing this where like he's been like really active and like shining and stuff like that, and then like a scene will get set and Mercer will say something and then he kicks it over to everybody like, what do you want to do? And he like takes a breath, opens his mouth, and then kind of looks around and waits for somebody else to speak first. And I'm like, bro, I respect the hell out of that. Like that's
professional.
That's really
right
cool
there.
because he has an idea and he was the first one to get ready to talk, and then he realizes, you know, maybe somebody else has something that they can say, and it might even be better than what I was going to say. So he just shuts up.
Yeah.
Well,
and
something
just
that
like,
you've missed.
Hey, you go.
Something that you haven't gotten to yet is sometimes like he switches to like full grog mode and just is like, come on, let's go. Like I wanna like hit something. I want to destroy it.
That happens early.
And he's just like, guys, shut up. Let's stab this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I know that side of the guy, Travis Willingham, from season
like
2.
Owner.
Yeah, he's the CEO.
Yeah.
Of Critical Role. But yeah, he in campaign 2, he's very much like that, where he's very respectful. He's very like, I'm gonna let people do their thing. I'm gonna have my thing I'm gonna do, but I'll let people go first. Mm-hmm. In the first, and he's one of my favorite characters and people in Critical Role in campaign 2. But in the first one, when he's doing the thing you were saying, Matt, it was like I was almost getting annoyed by it.
No, it's so great. It's such a barbarian move.
It's cool in the fact that it's very character driven.
Yeah.
But I think there was a little bit of him shining through a bit of like, I just want to like go hit something and like I don't care about any of this other stuff.
But the thing is, like he would do that and like he doesn't roll well.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't. And so I think I was like on episode 40 and like they were like celebrating. It may have been like something else. Don't quote me on 40, but like he was like celebrating because he rolled a nat 20 and they were like, that's like the first one you've ever gotten.
Yeah.
And like it's amazing, like
it was really late.
And then
in the
you
game,
like compare it to like Percy.
That's definitely not the first one he's ever gotten because like where I am,
Well, or it may have been like a long time since he's gotten one or something. But Percy
he just like gave the Fomorian the barrel to take a sip of his ale, and it drank the whole thing. And he like
the headbutt.
He sat and deliberated what he was gonna do, and then he's like, I'm gonna run up his arm and headbutt him, and he rolled in that 20 and like knocked it out. It was like, you owe me ale, and I was like, that is such a perfect time to like get a crit.
And then Percy has the golden snitch.
Yeah,
and he rolls nat 20s
like
all the time.
20 nat 20s in each episode.
Oh, so he's Worm.
What's that?
So he's
Worm. I mean, he's really good. He's really good until he's not. Like later on in the campaign,
so he's Worm.
He actually, he actually like, quote unquote, gets betrayed by the golden snitch, and then he gives it to Mercer. And then, like, there's, like, some death attack thing where Mercer uses it against Percy, and then, like, Percy goes down.
Yep. But I think he also was, like, I think he was rolling so many that he was, like...
He's like, I'm done with this dice.
Yeah, I need to, like, use other
it's not
dice.
it's not helping the campaign for me to just be this good.
Yeah, that happened with one of the characters in TFS at the table. He was playing a merfolk monk that, like, monks are kind of mid to low tier classes, but every single combat encounter or anything else they got in, he was carrying the whole team because he just kept rolling the lowest he rolled for like 4 episodes straight was a 17.
Wow.
And he was just like, they were like, what is with those dice? And he was like, dude, these are a set of dice that somebody gave me like on my wedding day. He's like, my first DM gave me these dice on my wedding day, and like
he soaks them in holy water.
Yeah.
Dan, I'm telling you, that is what you need to do.
But like that happened. He went on like a streak of just rolling all above like a 17, and then finally was just like, hey, I'm not going to use these dice anymore because
it's not fun.
Like Wake is stealing the spotlight from everyone else, and like I have to kind of pull back a little bit. So like he used a set of dice that like I think a fan sent them, and they were a lot more balanced, varied. Yeah.
They have dice like that in so Laura has like, which is
a million.
Vex has like a million sets of dice. Like she's always circulating through dice.
So me.
Yeah, she's
because I have one set of dice per character, and then I just have a bucket of dice.
She has like a bucket of dice, and she'll roll it like 2 or 3 times, and if she rolls like terrible, like she moves on, she's done.
Yeah, and at the beginning of every episode,
she picks like 4 or 5.
Yeah, she picks a bunch.
She rolls them, and then she finds which one's the best, and then that's what she goes with. And
Travis gets really annoyed with her.
Yeah, he's just like, come on, like let's just go.
I just watched the live episode.
Oh, where
the first live episode, and she's like going through her dice, and he's like, "There is so many dice on this table right now." It's like, yeah,
yeah. No, I'm just that guy. Like, I have a bucket of dice, but then like I buy a specific set for each character that like somewhat goes with their theme.
Yeah.
So like Dax, he's a divine soul sorcerer, so I bought these like black dice with like these gold cracks in them, and then Worm.
But they're all metal. Blake only uses metal dice.
I buy so many. I love metal dice. I love them so much. But like
Worm, I do too. But they're so expensive.
I actually do not
always.
Like metal dice.
You can find them cheap, but like Worm. I mean, he's a kobold, so I bought, like, Heather had given me this set of dice that are, like, hollow, and, like, they have these, like, dragons on them and stuff like that. So I was just like, oh, that's perfect. That's great. And so, like, each character has their own dice, but then I also just have a literal treasure chest that Heather made look like a mimic. Heather's my wife, by the way. Heather made look like a mimic that's just full of dice, just random dice.
That's pretty awesome.
It's so much fun. I love this hobby.
I think I would get bored playing like Percy. Like just being good all the time, like it kind of sucks. I enjoy like being terrible, but it's even better when Dan rolls and gets like 5.1s in a row because then I get to go through my like different rituals of trying to get good dice, like putting them under your pillow, or the one I sent him the other day was, Dan, there's a church within like 2 miles of your house.
It's like 0.7 miles or something.
It's like there's a Catholic church 0.7 miles away. Just take your dice, just awkwardly
Dunk
go
him in the holy water.
dunk him in the holy water, and then come. And we'll play. It'll be
Unbroken
great.
eye contact with the priest, just and then just like walk out. You have to dunk them 3 times.
Yep.
You know, it's the Trinity.
Yep.
Spin
In the name of
around,
the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
and then you have to spin around 7
Do
times.
better.
Spin around 7
But back on the topic of like failures and stuff. I think some of the best moments for your character come from critical failures, and
yeah.
like not
Like when Dan was lying to Friendly the other day and rolled terribly, and it turned into an hour and a half of roleplay about.
yeah, and that was awesome.
amazing.
And I got to sit there with my mouth shut and do nothing for like an hour and a half, and I was like, this is so great, you guys. Like, I have stuff prepped, but I don't have to do anything.
See, I think it comes in both sides though. Like when you fail horribly, and when you do
Oh
really
yeah,
well.
there's
Like,
got to be like it's like a
Yeah.
seesaw. It's got to be equal now. Because if you're just like being terrible the entire game,
Yeah, like Logan.
you're gonna hate it.
Like Logan.
my character Logan, absolutely horrible.
Yeah, but like even in that same
Wait,
campaign.
Logan?
Yeah, Logan is
Copperback
horrible.
from the Curse of Strahd.
My
Oh
rogue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close to
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah,
not.
Remy's a lot more balanced, but like from that same campaign with Logan, like I play in that one. I have a tiefling warlock, and he has rolled like 3 nat 1s in 3 different bodies of water trying to swim.
Well, now you're just terrified
Yeah,
as well.
and so because he's almost drowned so many times, he has this crippling fear of bodies of water. Like they have to cross a river, and it's like knee deep, and he's like, "I'm not going in there. I'm not going to do
Which
it.
is-
Like the rest of you can go. I'm going to keep walking until I find the way around. I'm not setting foot in the water."
Which is hilarious with my Triton character.
Yeah.
He's just like doing backflips.
Your
in the
Triton
water.
character, and then Heather's character has a cloak of the manta ray.
Yeah.
And then honestly, once he hits 5th level, I'm taking the Warlock invocation, Gift of the Deep, which gives him water breathing and a swim speed. But he's not going to get over his fear of water. He's still going to be terrified to go into the water. It's part of who his character is.
And then you get
Sorrow
the other
never
side
gets
of
in
it.
the bathtub.
Man, he has prestidigitation. He can clean himself.
And then you get the other side of it of successes where my character Lilander in one of the very first games rolled like 3 nat 20s when he was drinking on his Constitution savings.
And,
And
made
now
all the
is a folk
dwarves
hero.
jealous.
He's like a good drinker.
He was already a folk hero, just not in that town.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a folk hero, and now he's a drinking connoisseur
So,
Or
with an
Worm,
intelligence of 8.
or Worm taking the entire tournament by storm just because of random nat 20s. Like,
Yeah.
okay, he's entered the archery. Okay, roll a bow attack. Well, that's a nat 20. Okay, you did it. Like, and you let me pull off like a trick shot, and then it was like, okay, next roll, nat 20. Oh my god, I can't believe he rolled another one. Like,
Yeah.
all right, and then the third
You
roll.
did Robin Hood very well.
Yeah, and then the third roll for the third shot was like a natural 18 with a +9. So like he won archery, and then he kind of eked out a win in the hand-to-hand, and then won jousting. Tiny little
Yep.
no modifier strength kobold won a jousting tournament because of a nat 20.
Yeah.
my characters are always just like middle of the road. Like,
Well, maybe you should roll better.
I'm fine with where I'm
Yeah,
rolling.
no, rolling
I
mid,
am
mid
fine
is good.
right where I'm rolling.
I don't know. I feel like Bronze did really good.
I mean, yeah.
Bronze got stupid rolls. Like
Yeah.
they were so good.
Wait, you had a character that didn't start with F?
Yeah.
Yeah. His
So
name
it was for
Bronze
one
Muscles.
one shot.
what?
His name was Bronze Muscles.
Yeah.
He
He
was,
was,
a Warforged personal trainer.
yeah, he was a personal trainer, and he had like plates in his
Weight plates in his
in his chest, and so like he had
was the weight bar.
yeah, so he would like hit somebody with the weight bar, and then like he would do damage, and he'd be like, "Oh, you must do 20% better," and he would like shove the thing into his chest and twist it,
Add more
and,
weight.
and add more weight and do more damage, and so like
I think we gave him like
That's so
he
cool.
had to go 2 rounds, but on his 3rd round we let him add a D4 of damage to it.
yeah, and so like he's like doing that, and
It
just
was
like
so much fun.
it was,
That's so
and then
cool.
he had like a computer chip in the back, not like a computer chip, but like
a settings.
Yeah, a settings in the back of his head because
dial.
my wife hates when I do accents, and so
She's
so,
told
like,
him you're
So
not.
you Buzz Lightyear.
She's told him you don't get to do accents in my campaign, but Heather was running
Yeah,
this one
so
shot.
so like anytime if he got hit from behind, the setting wheel would get knocked and it would like change to something else. So it was
he had a
like
Spanish setting.
yeah, he had like he had a Spanish setting. He had like this like German like angry guy, and then he had like
Hans and Franz.
yeah, Hans and Franz, and then he had like a Richard Simmons one.
Oh no!
Yeah. It was a fun.
great.
It was a fun character
I
because
like
it was
that. That's
it
a lot
was
of fun.
it was bronze muscles, and then I think I was playing a chameleon lizard folk druid that was just like really nervous and neurotic.
Yeah.
And then Rachel was playing a Kenku, and she had lost her voice. She couldn't talk because
Yeah.
of like allergy season. No, like Rachel couldn't talk.
Yeah.
And then, so she
okay.
was playing a Kenku that like
Couldn't talk,
just
and so
only
she was just, like-
communicated with like hand signals and whispering.
Which
Or-
is
and whistling.
hilarious because it's a Kenku.
Yeah.
Because Kenku can mimic. Yeah, and so it's just all this like ridiculousness.
That was a one shot.
That was a
that was
one-shot.
like a 2-shot.
Yeah.
But it was good.
No, that one we actually did in one shot.
So you said let's go back to Critical Role.
Yeah, Critical
You
Role. Bring
said
it back.
you said Grog.
Grog.
You say
Okay.
who is your favorite?
Oh my gosh. You go first. 'cause
Do
I
you
gotta
mean
think
it?
about it
I'll
for a
go.
second. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Scanlan's my favorite.
Scanlan, yeah. It's a good choice.
I mean Scanlan and Keyleth, but at the same time, like Keyleth doesn't druid the way I want her to druid, so like it doesn't work for me. But Scanlan is just like the epitome of bard,
But you're
and
just
like
a moon
samurai.
druid snob.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think she is a moon druid.
Yeah, I know,
She
but
is.
like,
But
she
she
just
so
plays
like
it
she
differently.
does
She does a lot of elemental stuff,
Yeah,
though, which
yeah.
is
And then-
a little different than
part
what
of
you
her
like.
character.
Yeah, and but Sam Riegel is just so amazing as Scanlan, and like the character development that he has, and just like the stupid stuff that he does.
Yeah, see, I'm not far enough to
So like
see that.
the
right now,
whole-
he's just a pervert.
the last like 10 or 15 episodes, he's been trying to get Spice. Because like he wants to do like drugs just like once, and it's one of the times that Scanlan rolls a nat 20, and like he ends up buying
Sued? Is it sued?
so he buys suit and he bought like a spice. So he bought like this cooking spice, and he got totally had because he thought he was buying like he's like walking around town. He's going, "You got spice? Hey, you got spice?" like this like random dude comes up to him on the street and he's like, "Yeah, I got some spice. We're gonna be at this casino and I'll give you the hookup." And like they meet and he buys like 500 gold worth of this like giant bag of spice, and he lies to Vex, who's like the biggest miser when it comes with like the group funds, and he's just like, "Yeah, I got it for like 25 gold." Like it wasn't even that big of a thing. And so like obviously like Laura was there and heard it, and so like there's this big long thing about like her be like, "Oh honey, like I'm so glad you got such a good price on this," and she's just like guilt tripping him the whole time. And then in the last episode I just watched where am I spoiling things? Yeah.
No, go for it.
Yeah,
So
go for it,
Scanlan
fine.
dies. And yeah,
You know, as you do in
as you
D&D.
do in
yeah.
D&D.
All
And
of them
like
die at some point.
they like bring him back to life, and he just like goes around the corner and he's just like and just like starts snorting his drugs, and then like puts it. He at one point gets a pipe from somebody, and like a musical pipe, and he stuffs the drugs that he gets inside of the musical pipe, and then like smokes
Puts
them.
it down.
But it's just like herbs.
No. So he
this
bought,
was-
this
this
was
was
like the
actual-
real drugs after
okay,
he got
it.
I think it was Fosaka. Oh, what is it?
I don't know.
Fosaka.
Fantasy drug.
I don't know. So like that was the spice that he got.
Yeah.
And then like it's like a spice that you put on like meats. And he's just
Right.
like, I don't know, like, do I like shove it up my butt? Like, how do I use this stuff? And like, it's just like, dude, this is like really
ridiculous.
weird, but I love it.
Just wait till you get to campaign 2 when he starts. Well, I think he's already starting to do his like ads and stuff like that in the beginning of the
Yes,
show.
those are so for the longest time I was I was not watching it. So like Dan always told me that you gotta watch it. It's like they have these ads and it's really funny. And I was just like, I want to power through it. Like I'm trying to get ahead. So I was just like listening to it on Spotify. So they skip everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of my only option because of when I get to listen to it.
Yeah.
But the
I
ads
don't have a desk job, Matt.
it's nice. It's real nice. My commute's like 1.5 minutes from one building to the next.
I drive an hour to go do construction.
I poop in an AC building.
I just don't poop because it's it's a porta potty.
I take care of my kid at home, so.
There you go.
Which you can probably hear in the background.
All of our kids are here.
All of our
so
children,
any noises
both of mine,
that you hear.
both of Matt's and Dan's are all in the next room, so you guys might be able to hear the kiddos.
And dogs and wives.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spouses are all here too.
Okay.
Dan, who's your favorite?
Back to
Dan,
D&D.
who's your favorite?
Yeah, okay.
Probably his wife.
Yeah.
And Callum. I got it.
Oh, you mean in
In D&D.
Got
In
it.
Critical Role.
In Critical Role.
In Vox Machina.
I go
who's
back
your
and
favorite?
forth in Vox Machina between Grog and actually Vax. I love Vax.
Like
as a
Vaxeldan?
character.
I do like Vax a lot.
Vaxeldan. His Liam O'Brien, I think, is one of the best actors in the thing because it's amazing.
What?
They all do. What?
No, they don't.
All of them die.
That's not true.
Yes. Well, yeah, they all die.
Vax is the only one who dies.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna say Vex died.
Vex did die for a few seconds.
Okay.
Like dead, like not coming back.
Okay.
He kind of does, actually. But
There's more than one campaign.
That's true. I've only listened to one, so.
I've listened to campaign 1 of The Unexpectables. and some of campaign 2.
Go, Dan.
yeah.
So
So,
Vaxel
between
Dan
Greg and Greg.
Who is Greg?
Greg.
I'm Greg, you guys. I'm the Bugbear Rogue.
Silly little bugbear. Grog just looks at him. I don't like him.
Yeah. So between Grog and Vax, I think
Not Greg.
not Greg.
Vax is just so moody. Like the twins
He
are
gets
both
better,
so
though.
moody.
They are, but
Well, he's playing a rogue.
yeah,
wears
he's,
all black.
he's the edge lord of
Rogues are edgy.
yeah.
Edge.
But yeah, no, I think he has some like theater in his background that just
Yeah.
he just knows how to drive a point to the emotional
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah. You
epitome.
can, and it definitely comes through better on the podcast than on the show, which
Yeah.
is crazy because like you've
The
got
show you'd feel would
yeah,
be more
and you have this
cinematic.
like representation of a person, whereas in the podcast you just have like dude wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, and he's doing it live
He's doing
instead
it
of
live.
scripted.
Yeah.
Improvisation just I think he prepares things to a certain point like between
Like he wants to be like, I want it from here to there, and like I'm gonna find a way to get there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like when he goes and talks to like their father,
Oh yeah.
it's just like, oh my gosh, right in the feels, man.
But I feel like every player does that. Like everybody
Yeah.
should have a point where like if this situation happens, like I'm going to progress it this way. And whereas like with Grog, he doesn't really have to do that.
Well, yeah,
But
because he's a big
But he
silly
does.
guy.
When he fights
His uncle?
Kevdak,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that was amazing.
That's in the show, not in the
That's
podcast.
the one. That's
It's in both.
the
okay.
episode you're about to go to.
Okay, yeah, because currently he's
Tiny Grog,
Noodle Arm Grog.
Yeah.
which is amazing.
They're rowing him down the stream
Yep.
when I turned it off.
the song.
Yeah, Pike was singing some song.
Yep.
I do really like Pike too.
Pike is
But
great.
Ashley is gone so often because she was
Yeah.
on that show
Yeah,
that
blind
it makes
spot.
it hard to connect with her character. I think if she was there more, like
It's also kind of convenient because clerics are broken.
yeah,
They're
well, she's
so
still there.
strong.
She's still there. They
Yeah, but-
Mercer
but
or
Mercer-
Laura just plays.
But when Mercer does it, because I've only seen Mercer do it, he he puts her in a much more backseat role until somebody else asks, "Hey, Pike, can you do this?" And like there was literally this point that I just got past where like he was having to play as Pike, and somebody was like, "Pike, can you do this?" And he goes, "Well, she did not send me what her prepared spell list is, so I don't know what she can do."
Yeah, they get better at it because I think at the beginning of the show, like she had just gotten picked up for the like TV show that the
Blind Spot.
Blind Spot that Ashley was in, and so as it progressed, they did like the video call-ins, which kind of throw it off a little bit because they end up going out a lot.
Yeah,
or Laura just ends up playing for her, and that really helps.
Yeah.
Who's your least favorite character?
And
we're not going to count Tiberius because like he's bottom of the barrel.
I don't really
for
want to
everyone.
do that because like I feel like they're all really good characters, and so like to rank any of them as least favorite would be like there's something. I don't know. It feels kind of crappy because it's
it's Trinket. Like everybody's least favorite should be Trinket because he's broken and shouldn't
just never there.
No,
but when he fights that ghost bear,
I mean, when he fights the ghost bear, that's really cool.
awesome.
But like.
They were using the vanilla Beastmaster when Beastmaster was a terrible
having like Trinket there is just like they're like, oh, we went through this tiny tunnel that we had to squeeze through, but we totally forgot we had Trinket the whole time.
They forget about Trinket.
And so thankfully Mercer was like, well, we're gonna fix this, and gives Vex the Pokeball necklace.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a question I have. The thing that was and I was really bothered by this because I know D&D monsters. What did that chick summon out of that amulet? What was that thing? Big monster, one
Zara?
eyeball.
You talking about Zara?
Yeah, a lot of tentacles, one eyeball, and I was like, it's possibly a beholderkin of some kind, and then it started doing its weird attacks and like turning people into stone, and I was like, okay, not a beholderkin.
I think that was actually made for
because I know
the show.
Okay, so it wasn't in the series.
It's a Medusa Pusicon.
So it wasn't in the series because I know Mercer.
I don't think so.
I know Mercer does do a whole lot of homebrew. And,
I don't
stuff
think
like that.
so.
Okay,
I don't think it was.
because I was watching that and Heather watched it before I did, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I was wondering if you knew what that was," and I was like, "I have no freaking clue what that is." Like, I have theories, but I don't have. I don't know. And like the further the fight went on, all of my theories of what it might be just went.
I think it was some kind of like demon.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But the only demon that even somewhat matches like the description of the weird blobby thing with odd tentacles is a Cybriax, and I was like, that is not a Cybriax.
I mean,
they would have TPK'd. I'm sorry.
Matt Mercer does a lot of like, just like homebrew stuff.
Yeah, no, I know he does.
And so I'm assuming that's what it was, or it could have just literally been something made for the show because it like fit well.
Yeah, because in the podcast,
you just got past that part.
No, I've been past that part for a while.
Oh, okay.
For when Vex gets the
amulet, but also when that episode is when Vax got the Raven Queen armor.
Yeah,
the vestige.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm at the point where they're in the Feywild and they just fought the ghost bear.
Ghost bear.
For the tree to fight in the tree.
They're still on their way to the tree.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, we're running low on time, but I want to get to a little bit more of the next campaigns of it because I think that like if I just kind of touch on it a little bit because second campaign is my favorite so far.
You just want to hear yourself talk because Blake and I have no knowledge of those.
I mean, that's okay. We like hearing Dan talk.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys listen to my podcast all the time, so you must listen to it.
I do have something that I want to throw to you guys and ask, but go.
Okay.
It's a good wrap up.
Yeah.
So the next one is Mighty Nine.
Yes, the Mighty Nine, which I am extremely excited for the animated series.
Yeah, Amazon's doing another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're continuing on Vox Machina, but then they're doing a new season this coming fall, I think.
Do those ever cross over?
There are definite crossovers in the podcast or in the show.
Yeah.
Later on. And they even do it in the third campaign as well. So it's so cool. But yeah, like the Mighty Nine, I think is definitely my absolute favorite campaign because the character development of that, even more so than Vox Machina, are just so amazing. But then like okay, so going from that to campaign 3,
which is called Hell's Bells.
Bell's Hells, yeah.
Bell's Hells, yeah.
So in contrast to both other seasons, there are a lot of like chaos monkeys in that
Don't
campaign.
They have different
like,
players?
They do bring in some guest people in certain episodes. Like right now, they actually have split the party and they bring on extra people.
So dumb.
Well, it wasn't their
Never
choice.
split the party.
It was not their choice by any means.
It makes me think of the meme where it's got a D&D party and they're all like crammed into one bathtub.
Yeah.
And they all look really upset and it says never, ever, ever split the party.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I love it. But yeah, so like campaign 3 is very much like every single character is like, okay, what the heck is this person and why did they choose this?
Because you think it's like a long running development or like
it definitely is. Like they're on episode like 30 something now of that campaign, and like it's gotten better.
Yeah.
And it's definitely very, very much like developed characters. But the first like 10 to 15 episodes are a little rough to get through just because it's like so chaotic because they're just random characters just kind of thrown into a weird pile of just craziness.
So as the Critical Role expert, you would say that Mighty Nine is the one to start with?
I honestly think so because...
But do you need Vox Machina to catch up on it? Like, are you ever confused because you didn't hear something before? Or
I think that, yes, in some ways, I didn't get some of the lore behind it because I didn't watch Campaign 1 first. But I'm glad I started on Campaign 2 because it was a bit more developed production-wise and a bit more easy to follow. I probably would have been bogged down by Season 1 or Campaign 1. And
I think with Campaign 1, if you just start at episode 26 and go on from there, like, you'll be fine.
Is that because that's when Tiberius is gone?
No comment.
You'll get there someday, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem is so I listen to podcasts when I'm at work. Shh, don't tell. But
I'm sure all 3 of our listeners
Your
will...
boss is going to listen to this.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure my foreman's going to be listening to 2 Geeks, 1 Noob and be like, wait, hang on, what's happening? If you are listening to this, what's the deal, Pickle?
So what is
I'm not going to explain.
What was your question? What was your question? What was your wrap up?
Go ahead.
So it's not really a question. It's just more of like a wanted to kind of touch on and discuss because like it's kind of huge, the cultural impact that Critical Role had.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
For D&D itself because like it was like the first one that got big.
Yeah.
And like not all of, but most of the other D&D podcasts are, I mean, they're all kind of like following in its footsteps. And like, yes, some of them have gotten, super popular and stuff like that. Like for example, the one that I listened to a lot, The Unexpectables, was in the running with Critical Role for like a fan's choice of like best live play D&D podcast, and they actually beat them out in that. Like they won that award.
They beat Critical Role?
Yeah, which was surprising, but I mean if you've listened to the campaign, it's really good. But The Unexpectables and other things like, Adventure Zone and stuff like that would not have really existed
absolutely not.
Without what Critical Role
and
did.
Deacon Sundry and
Deacons. But and then there's also like the Dungeon Master has become so like tied up with Matt Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
And like and it's a double-edged sword because it's a great thing because Mercer's done wonderful things for it, but then there's also the Mercer effect that he himself has addressed and said, man, I really hate that this is a thing. Like, the fact that I'm a good DM is making other people unhappy at their tables because they're like, oh, I thought all DMs were like Matthew Mercer.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really hate that. Like,
This is his job.
yeah, like,
Yeah, that is his-
I'm paid to do this. This is my full-time gig. Like, your DM is a hobbyist. Like,
Yeah.
stop expecting a professional when you've got just a fun table. Let your table be what it is.
Yeah.
But
That's what I really like about it, because like I personally I love Matt Mercer. I think he's like I said before, a phenomenal voice actor, a phenomenal DM. But I get to take the inspiration from him, take the entertainment from him, and then I get to go to a D&D table and get to be DM'd by Blake here. And
then you've started your own campaign.
and I've started my own campaign and like take inspiration from it, but also really, really appreciate what we do and appreciate like the voices and the stuff that you
and the
do.
time, like
Yeah, the time
like
that you
when Rachel's leading a campaign,
And Rachel,
she'll
yeah,
be like,
absolutely.
she'll be like, Matt, you can't talk to me right now. I'm focusing on this,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, like
She's got Wild
just
Beyond
like-
Witchlight sprawled out with a
yeah,
bunch of
and
notebooks.
she's
is
like, Matt,
"Shh,
don't
stop
come in the
talking."
room. Don't come in the room. I'm trying to do this. Like you can't say this. We can't talk about like
Yeah,
and,
the dedication that Blake and Rachel and
now you.
now me, but I'm not quite as dedicated yet.
You're
'Cause
getting there. The sessions that you've run have been incredibly fun.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that's not just because I'm playing my favorite character.
But yeah, like just being able to enjoy Matt Mercer, but also get to enjoy what we do, because like we don't have that production money, we don't have all that, but we still we
have a
still
lot of
have
fun
a lot of
doing what we're
fun.
doing.
Yeah, and we don't have to have. I'd love to have all the money that they do from all that.
Yeah, it'd be really fun to
All those battle maps. Oh,
or to stream a campaign would be really fun.
Yeah.
But like we don't have
The focus.
I think if we were doing it professionally,
yeah, I
we'd
think
put the
if
focus
we
in.
if we were doing a production of it, we would probably be like, all right, guys, like no, seriously, like because right now it's like we're coming together and hanging out every Friday and like playing one of our
That's
campaigns.
our hangout time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and so
for
like
sure.
we grab a couple beers and like we sit around and we drink a couple beers and then play D&D and pretend to be wizards and rangers and
be
druids
geeks.
and stuff. Like
We get to be geeks every Friday.
yeah, like every Friday, so people are like, "Hey, you got any fun plans for the weekend?" And like last Friday, they're like, "Hey, you got any?" Or not last Friday, the one before. They're like, "What are your plans for this weekend?" I was like, "Dude, I'm going to go to my buddy's house and I'm going to pretend to be a kobold and just like anybody walking in from my job site would think we were deranged because we're just like."
I told like last time we had guys' night, they were like, Matt, what are you doing tonight? I was like, oh, I'm going to turn into a chair and eat somebody's fingers. And they were like, what?
Turn into a chair and eat somebody's fingers. What a part that did you not get?
I really like so I have like the opposite thing of you, because like I look at Matthew Mercer and I mean, it's great. But then I look at Marisha and Travis and Sam and Liam and all of them, because like I never DM. I don't like it. But like, I feel like my role playing has gotten better since I started listening to it. And I feel like over the last 2 years, as I've gone through all of it and done all of that, like I'm getting more comfortable, like acting out who my character is and acting out goals that I've set outside of game for my characters.
Yeah.
Like the development that I want, and seeing how, obviously, I'm never going to do like a romance, because like my characters are never that person.
One, I don't really
Well,
want to
that's
role
not
play
true.
a romance with you.
That's not true. Me and like Cappy and Kettle Steam, we're going to be star-crossed lovers forever.
But at least in that one, you're role playing with your wife.
Yeah, so like
You guys can't tell because this is not video, but I just rolled my eyes to the point where I think I sprained something.
but seeing how Liam and Marisha built this like love for each other, and like seeing how something like that can develop kind of shows that even if you're some schmo off the street like me, like you can build your character into whatever you want it to be, and it really shows like you can be somebody else and give you that time where you can be somebody else.
And I think that moment, or that hour and a half of role play between Lalander and Friendly, I don't think ever would have happened without Critical Role.
Yeah.
Because like we put ourselves into that because we watch things that are like, okay, that's how much we can put ourselves into this character.
Because a lot of old school D&D was just numbers and dice. Like there wasn't a ton of role play in it.
It's like the beer and pretzels.
Nowadays they call it beer and pretzels groups when you just want to get together and do a dungeon crawl and like disarm traps and like focus on the game mechanics instead of, okay, we're telling like this full-fledged story where each of us is an individual character that is responsible for progressing the tale that's being told.
Yeah. And that's what is inspiring me for my campaign with like not only with Critical Role but with your DMing as well, is like bringing that storyline and bringing that character development, bringing the role play, bringing the emotion, the not only the character development but the relationships between the characters.
For real.
Like,
for sure.
That's why I'm so ready to get back to homebrew. Like, I love Icewind Dale, but my homebrew was so much more fun.
You could always pull us out and just throw us into something else. They have portals for that.
Yeah, they did specifically add a spell in Tasha's that was like, hey, you can transport into another plane of existence. And I'm like, I might use that.
Yeah.
Because I do like Icewind Dale.
I think if we,
I want to finish it. I want to finish it.
Well, yeah, let's at least wait till like we get our bar and like.
Yeah.
You want to get the bar only to then be transported to another dimension where you don't have one.
Is the portal?
Yes.
Maybe the bar.
It's our interdimensional ship. We get in the bar and we move in it. Be pretty slick.
There is actually a
The
thing.
threshold crests.
Well,
we put threshold crests in it.
Well, there is actually a thing in the end of Icewind Dale that can justify moving you guys into a my homebrew scenario.
Can we hurry up and finish?
You guys, I'm just kidding. What are you guys at, like
10 more chapters or
level what, 5?
No.
6.
Are you guys up to
now,
6? Yeah. Okay, well the campaign goes up to 13.
Yeah.
So like,
Well,
if you want to finish, stop faffing about and like get on it.
Yeah,
like,
6.
Yeah, let's stop worrying about the bar and actually continue the story.
I have so much money, I have to put it somewhere.
You have so much money. Think about how much money my character that doesn't understand money has.
Yeah.
He was given a chest with 6,000 gold.
That's a different
He
campaign.
once paid 45 gold for a sandwich.
That's a different campaign. Anyways,
Okay.
this
real quick.
Critical Role, D&D, this podcast here.
Real quick though, what I am really excited about is the fact that my homebrew and Blake's homebrew are connected.
Yeah, collaboration.
He has one hemisphere of the world, and I have the other. So our campaigns can intertwine, and Lalander and all them can go to his side, and all that, and it's gonna be fun. But anyway,
You remember that 10th level one shot I ran? Are you sure you want to be on my side of the globe right now with the war and stuff that's brewing?
when I'm the higher level, of course, because it'll be fun. But anyway, back to Critical Role. I love Critical Role. I am obsessed with it. I have watched. Okay, here's a little bit of a numbers thing. I have been following and playing D&D for just under 2 years. I have known you guys for just under 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was July of 2021
At the Whataburger House.
at the Whataburger House. And I have, it was a couple of months later that I started Critical Role.
Mm-hmm. Even though I
Campaign
was
2.
telling you should listen to The Unexpectables. You're like, I'm going to listen to Critical Role. What do you think about that one? And I was like, I never heard an episode of it. Sorry, Dan.
So yeah, Campaign 2, 140 episodes, 141 episodes.
Wow.
Campaign 1,
And they're all 4 hours long.
and they're all 3.5 to 4.
I mean, yeah,
sometimes even 5.5 hours.
It's a full D&D
Jeez,
section.
crazy.
In the less than 2 years, I have listened to 141 episodes of Campaign 2, 60 episodes of Campaign 1, and like 30-something episodes of Campaign 3. That's a lot of hours.
What you guys can't see, because this is, just audio, is every time Dan starts saying the word Critical Role, he scratches his teeth and then like messes with his nose like he's addicted to it.
Y'all got any more of them dice?
All that to say, Critical Role is... Yeah, it just...
It's really wonderful, great, and super fun. You should listen to it. It's so wonderful.
I agree.
Yeah.
And The Unexpectables.
And you know what? I will also say The Unexpectables, because I did listen to a few episodes of that, and I do think they're pretty awesome. I don't like the sound quality, but that's about it.
You were listening to like the first ones on YouTube, right? Yeah. So once so they had 2 story arcs where they were kind of like testing the waters and just doing it on like Twitch and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they hit the 3rd arc, they got somebody to do like a theme song for them, and then they got like better sound equipment and like got it all like fixed and worked out and stuff like that, and then started doing their thing.
Yeah.
Like and it jumped in quality.
What about Offices and Bosses?
We're not talking about Hello from the Magic Tavern this time. That's going to be its own episode, possibly.
Yes! Stupid things we love.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Any other thoughts before we end tonight?
No.
Or this morning?
I don't know. I just love that, like, it's permeated culture so much that, like, we found that homebrew stat block for the Dungeon Master, and the artwork for it was Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
And then
Wearing
like,
a vest.
No, he was wearing like a wizard
hood,
robe.
like a hooded robe thing. Yeah.
But then like Joe Cat did the crap guide to D&D, and like he mentioned at one point, like he made some offhanded joke of like, yeah, if you don't play every character to their exact stereotype, Matthew Mercer's gonna sneak into your room and throw pool noodles at you from the corner. and like he's talked about that joke so many times. He's like, I want to be on some sort of like Comic-Con panel with Matt Mercer and just have him only there to like throw pool noodles at me, and then be like, hey, I don't know why, but they paid me a lot of money to do this. Who are you? and then like on his crap guide to being the Dungeon Master, Matt Mercer was on the episode and like voiced himself and like talked Joe Crap out of like his bad behavior and got him to go back and apologize for being a crappy DM to the Chaos Monkeys, as you put it earlier, of the whole party. Like, it was just this neat little thing, because he had all these other, D&D podcasters and YouTube stars and stuff like that, and it started with the Unexpectables. They were the first party that he introduced there. And then like they all leave because he snaps and yells at them all for being crazy and not following the plot and blah blah blah. And then they all start walking away, and he's yelling at them like, I don't need you anymore, I'll have fun without you guys. And then turns around and Mercer's standing there, and he's like, hey, do you think maybe you overreacted? And kind of like tells him the values of like being a DM. He's like, it's not your story, it's theirs. Like, they're the players, you're here to facilitate. And like, so what if they get crazy? So what if they don't go on script? So what if they do all these wacky things? Like, are you here to have fun or not?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what you planned, it matters what's happening.
Yeah.
Roll with the punches.
Whatever's fun.
It was just such a like a heartwarming moment, because like, not only was it, kind of touching and sweet, but like he actually had Mercer there recording these lines and saying this to him. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Is that what you listen to every time before like you have to play a session with me?
His little pep talk to Joe Crap?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
If you were ever going to play Frodrick again and I had to DM for Frodrick, probably.
Nah, I won't play as him again.
Yeah. I mean, Cappy is Frodrick. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
For now.
Yeah. But he was just ridiculous, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. Like, this is such a chaotic character. Like I don't know how to work with you, man.
It's kind of my thing. I'm about it.
Wait, but Friendly's a Chaos Monkey character, and like he's hard to plan encounters for because druids, like
you never know.
Druids are stupid strong, and so you have to be able to modify encounters to make it a challenge for the druid without just decimating the rest of the party. Like, it's not an easy thing to do, and you have to do it without just saying, well, I'm going to target the druid. Like, because that's not fun.
Yeah. That's crappy.
Yeah.
Not cappy, crappy.
Which, by the way, Heather has said, like, no, Dan needs to design his encounters to target me because that's Atreya's character.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody else is getting hit, she's gonna like go and grab their attention and be like, no, your sword goes here.
Yeah.
That's what
Barbarians,
the
baby.
Echo Knights do too, pretty much. Is they get that ability eventually to like force somebody to attack them.
She's multi-classing Echo Knight.
Yeah.
We should wrap up.
Yes,
Yeah.
we should.
We've been going for a long time, but it's been tons of fun.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on again. And you know what? I'm just going to say it, that if you guys like listening to the three of us talk about D&D and how much fun we have playing it, we may be starting another podcast pretty soon with the three of us. We're not sure, how it's going to work and all, but look out for some announcements with that, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Same channel, same, all that, but different name. But also, if you guys are enjoying listening to us talk about some geeky stuff, share it with your friends, and keep on listening. And we love you guys.
And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Okay, bye. Bye.